Welcome to Back of the Room. My name is Jimmy Day, host of Back of the Room podcast. Got another solo episode for you. Everybody loves them or they hate them. That's what we got this week. It's going to be another banked episode. Got to fill up that bank, you know. Got to bank them. I've been banking for a while now, almost too much. The bank is full. But that's what they say, you know. A penny saved is a penny earned, or a podcast banked is a podcast that's in a bank. That's not a saying. That was dumb. But I'm banking this one, is what I'm getting at. Probably should have stayed home and edited and put out a podcast tonight. But I didn't do that because I'm here doing a banked solo episode of Back of the Room podcast. So that's what we got going on, folks. I suck at editing and getting podcast out on time, but I'm not bad at banking. Got the bank going. So there's that. It's not a good strategy or, you know, advisable, but that's what we're doing, because this episode probably won't come out for like a month and a half. And then people will be like, why is he talking about the 4th of July? It's mid-August. But, you know, just pretend when this comes out that it's a month and a half ago. Come on, guys. It's banked. Respect the bank. And since I suck at editing and filming and social media and podcasting in general, I'm looking for an intern. You can email backoftheroompod@gmail.com, I think is what it's called. Don't get a lot of emails, but shoot me an email. Shoot me a message on Facebook. It is an unpaid position. It requires vast knowledge of social media, podcast editing. I'd like you to be pretty good at, Adobe Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Canva, why not? Facebook, X. I don't really use X much, but if you know a lot about X, that's a plus. YouTube. Whatever. Everything. You got to be good. And you're not getting paid. But you're getting paid in experience. You know. And bonus, you get to be a guest on Back of the Room podcast. Probably. Yeah, I think that just probably filled up my inbox of my Gmail right there. But yeah, just shoot me a message, shoot me an email. I need an unpaid intern to do all the legwork so I can just come in here and talk to a guest or bank a solo episode. And if you're an HVAC guy, give me a message, shoot me an email. If you know what that screeching noise is every time the AC kicks on, I'd really like to get that looked at, because it's annoying as fuck, and it happens, it seems like every time it kicks on, and that's a few times an hour. So it's not ideal. That's not ideal for, you know, audio recording. So, yeah, HVAC guy, unpaid intern. And if you're a fan, shoot me a message or an email. Or if you hate the podcast, shoot me a message and just say you don't like it. That's something. And, yeah, so those four. Unpaid intern, HVAC guy, if you love it or if you hate it, shoot me an email. Yeah, like I said, it was 4th of July weekend. A lot of festivities going on. My wife's all about, doing things. And I like to do stuff too a lot of the time, but it was hot as fuck all weekend. And there was a parade in St. Charles at 10 a.m. And I believe at 10 a.m. when we got down to the parade area, it was 100 degrees with 100 degrees humidity. So you get to watch some floats go by and some Jeeps and some Mustangs and some people throwing candy. I didn't really get a whole lot of candy. I think I only got 2 pieces, but there was a lot of kids around, so obviously they get first dibs. Somebody could have just thrown me some, and I would have caught it in the air, but they go ground all the time. They're throwing it out through the ground because the kids are closer to the ground. Give me a couple air-mailed Tootsie Rolls, Next year, if you're watching this and you're in the parade, just look for me. A few candy in the air would be nice. So we checked out the parade. It was hot as fuck. Decent little parade. We just walked down, checked it out. Not a huge parade guy, but, it's a thing that people do. Mitch Hedberg joke is, if you don't like a parade, I'm going to fuck it up. If you like a parade, don't follow it because it never changes. And if you don't like it, you can run in the opposite direction and fast forward the parade. I didn't say it like Mitch, but that was the gist of it, and he's hilarious. So yeah, there was a parade. 4th of July, America. So check that out. Went home for a bit, cooled down. I think we watched Smokey and the Bandit. Watching some of these old movies, that pop up on Netflix. Pretty solid movie. I don't think I've seen it all the way through before. Burt Reynolds is the man, and he's really making me want to grow that mustache. Still think I could pull it off. Brought it up to several people who said, no, you cannot. But what do they know? I might go full Burt Reynolds, get a cowboy hat, a Trans Am mustache. It's a pretty cool look. So watch Smokey and the Bandit or Smokey and the Bandit 2. I don't remember. We've watched both of them recently. 1 was better than 2, obviously. Smokey and the Bandit 2, their big haul was to deliver an elephant, which you can imagine hijinks ensue. And I was just like, oh yeah, this was the 70s or 80s. PETA would never allow this anymore because they just got an elephant in a truck and pulling elephants on trailers behind cars. And while it's a lot of fun, I think they might have an issue with it. So, yeah, then they had this festival thing down at the riverfront. We went down there around 5:30-ish and checked things out. You got a lot of food carts. You got some people selling trinkets that I don't think anybody really wants. Maybe a clothing store. Had a bubble machine, which was pretty cool. And yeah, they had some bands going. So walked around. I got a corn dog. You got to get a corn dog if you go to a festival or a fair. I think that's a rule. So I got a corn dog. Had a couple drinks, and then there was like this frozen drink margarita kind of cart. I was like, that sounds pretty good. It's 100 degrees. Let's get a couple of those. Went over there. And I was like, all right, I'll take a frozen margarita and a frozen strawberry, whatever. They were $9 each, which, whatever, I guess. Everything's expensive. HVAC guy, seriously, you gotta help me out. So, I was like, I'll take 2 of your drink things. And she pours them and sets them down. And they weren't frozen at all. Maybe a couple little chunks in there. But I was, picturing a frozen margarita, like you would get at a Mexican restaurant. And they had those kind of machines. So I don't know if it was too hot to freeze this shit, or if they just made a new batch or what. But I was like, fuck. These aren't frozen. These are going to suck. But I paid anyway because the lady was just like sitting there smiling at me. I should have been like, no. This looks bad. But I went ahead and paid, and we drank them, and they weren't that great. But what are you going to do? It was 100 degrees. I wanted a frozen margarita. I got a margarita, I guess, with no ice. Checked out a band. There was a Fleetwood Mac cover band. They were pretty good. Got down there and checked them out. They were playing all the hits. They were playing a couple that were not the hits as well. And the guy that was singing, he kept trying to do the, all right, everybody, help me out with this. Now it's your turn. He would just be like, whatever. He would do the verse, and then like 5 people, it seemed like, would sing it back. And he, you're going to have to do better than that. And then, he would do it again, and then like 5 people again would sing it back. And he's like, that was worse than last time. So he did it again, and then like, I think 10 people did it back out of several thousand still. And he's like, oh, man, you guys got to do better than that. And after 2 or 3, if it's not working out, bro, just finish the rest of the song. He did it 2 or 3 more times, and people, maybe 100 finally did it just to be like, all right, let's fucking move on. We don't want to sing this song that we don't know, this deep cut of Fleetwood Mac. So pick your battles, bro. That's all I'm saying. In your next performance, do one of the hits if you want to sing along kind of deal. But they were pretty good. Had some cool lights going on and some pageantry. The Stevie Nicks gal was up there doing her little, shawl Stevie Nicks swirling dance, which is always a fan favorite. Landslide. Killed it on Landslide. But, it was pretty good. And they had it timed out very well because as soon as they got done with their last song, the fireworks started. And we got lucky. We got a couple chairs. They had some chairs down there. And then I was just like, hey, are you not using these chairs? And they weren't. So we got to sit down for the Fleetwood Mac cover band. Then I just turned them over to the right, towards the river, and saw the fireworks. And they were pretty good. Very good show. Probably better than last year. They want to try to up their game. And St. Charles, it's a pretty good-sized city. But I would guess, and I don't know, I'm no fireworks expert, they're probably spending $2 million on the fireworks display. And while it was pretty dope for the, 20 to 30 minutes that it was going on, I think I might like lower taxes or maybe a kickback. We've dialed down our fireworks this year, but everyone that lives in St. Charles City is getting back $2,000. How about that idea? I should run for mayor. Less fireworks, more money back in your pockets. Sure, the fireworks display isn't as good, but your taxes are going down. I don't think it's that bad of a platform. Fireworks in my book are way better than parades. But we saw them both. We did it all. So we're sitting there in our chairs watching the fireworks. They had a patriotic music playing over the PA now. All the classics. I'm proud to be an American. That one. They had the, bunch of old country patriotic classic songs. You got to play the Toby Keith one, the "I'll Put a Boot in Your Ass" song, People love that one. So I think that one was last. But as I was sitting there, looking at this beautiful fireworks display that probably cost $2 million, it kind of just washed over me that I had rage and anger building. Because in the same day, the stupid piece of shit that's in the White House signed a bill that's taking millions of people's health care away, giving tax break to billionaires. He's stolen billions of dollars, bankrupting and taking money from a lot of good organizations, and everything is fucked. So you got Toby Keith's song on, you got the fireworks, and in my head I'm just like, fuck. I love America, but shit is fucked up right now. And I don't like to get political on here, or in general. And before anybody says or doesn't say anything in the comments, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I hate all of them. They're all bought and sold and the worst. And I think everybody in politics is a piece of shit. So all the people are going to be like, oh, this guy called Trump a piece of shit. Joe Biden was a piece of shit. Bill Clinton was a piece of shit. George W. Bush is a piece of shit. Everyone in politics pretty much is a piece of shit. And everything needs to change. Got to take all the money out of politics. All kinds of stuff. But let's not just let billionaires ruin everything. And corporations ruin everything and not do anything to make things better for average Americans. But, it was just a weird feeling. Sitting there, looking at fireworks that were cool and should bring joy, but the same day, this bill passes that is complete horseshit. So I was thinking about that. The juxtaposition of the country music, American, Toby Keith, Boot in Your Ass song, and the fireworks within my head of just how fucked everything is. So, not great. I had a good time watching the fireworks, but that's what was going on in my head. Sidebar, there was this lady right in front of us who had her phone out during the fireworks and just was filming it, 6 inches away from her face for probably half of the time that they were going on. So that was pretty funny. Fireworks, videos of fireworks are always great. Way better than actually looking at them in person. You just put your phone basically on your eyeballs and you can watch them on a shitty little TV instead of seeing the huge explosions with your own eyeballs. But that's America, folks. Sorry about that tangent, but I got a little hot there, and politics suck. Democrats, Republicans, they all suck. Everything sucks right now. Hope things get better. Doesn't seem like they're going to. Doesn't seem like anybody wants to hold anyone accountable or let any people just, do insider trading, steal billions of dollars, kick everyone off healthcare, let AI take over, let robots take over, and then everybody will just be homeless and die. Oh, man, that got dark, but kind of true. Let's try to make some changes out there, people that aren't watching this podcast. But, America. Gotta love it. Which I do, but goddamn. I think we're going to take a little break here. Gonna go check out the open mic for a little bit. Maybe I'll pop back in and put a bow on this thing. But yeah, thanks for listening and or watching. Back of the room. Sorry about the politics talk. Fuck. And we're back. Sitting here in the back of the room. Was hanging out the open mic. Didn't make the list. So I'm back. Gonna finish up the solo pod of all solo pods. We already talked about banking episodes. We talked about the 4th of July. We talked about a lot. I just burped. So, yeah, what else was going on last weekend? Did all the 4th of July festivities. We talked about that. Went up to my parents' house for my mom's B-Day. Shout out to my mom. I love you. Happy birthday. That was a good time. Basically just ate a lot of food and hung out and took a little dip in the lake. And we got there around lunch and had some food and then jumped into the lake for a swim. And I looked at my phone before we got in. I was like, yeah, I think it's going to start raining at like 3 p.m. We got in about 2-ish. And then saw the clouds moving in. I'm like, yeah, it's definitely going to rain. Started sprinkling a little bit. And then all of a sudden, it was just a torrential downpour. And apparently you don't really want to be in a large body of water when there's lightning and thunder and everything because you can die or get electrocuted. So we got out and just hung out in the basement, played some pool, played this old board game called Aggravation that's no one's probably ever heard of. They probably made like 100 copies of it in 1970. And for some reason, that was a really big board game when I was a kid. And it turns out we've been playing it wrong my entire life. I haven't played it in probably 10 years. And I read the back of the box, and I was like, well, what the fuck? If you follow the rules here, this game won't take 3 hours. So, played the game. It's a pretty fun game. Actually, I don't know if they still make it or if anybody's ever heard of it, but Aggravation. It is very aggravating because you got to go around this board and people can knock you off, and you got to have, you got to roll certain numbers with a dice, and it's a dicey game, but it's pretty good. But now that you got the real rules, it was better. We did teams of 3, and we lost. My team lost by a little bit, but we were only playing by the real rules for 3/4 of the game, so that could have been a factor. I don't know. I'm a competitive guy when it comes to Aggravation and other games, but that was a good time. But, yeah, it was my mom's birthday, so I talked to my brother about what we were going to get her. And he's like, oh, I'll just order something online. Like, I got this new lawn chair. He had like a fancy lawn chair, and he had it around. And my mom was like, oh, that's pretty nice. I'd like to have one of those. And he clocked it mentally, but then he ordered 2 of them from both of us. It's an expensive lawn chair, but it was pretty nice. I think he ordered it like 2 days before her birthday. And he's like, oh, it's going to show up tomorrow. I'm like, it's probably not. But, whatever. Maybe it will. And it didn't. But I think it came in yesterday or something. So she'll get them eventually. But it kind of sucks when you order something for someone's birthday and then you're just like, yeah, we have nothing for you. We ordered something and it's coming in, but here's nothing. So takes a little of the fun out of it, I think. I don't know. So hopefully those came in and she likes her new lawn chairs. But, I kind of miss the days where you went to a place and they had things that you could buy and then you just took them to someone and gave them to them. But that's not the world we live in these days. You can search things online and then they ship them to your house. Fuck Jeff Bezos. It is convenient, but fuck you, Jeff Bezos. But I think this was like from Walmart.com, and they're like, oh, we don't have it in the store, but we can ship it to your house tomorrow. And then they just lied and didn't ship it to the house the next day. So it would have been easier if they just had it in their store and you could just go buy it and then hand it to your mom for a birthday gift. But what the fuck do I know? So yeah, we did that. That was good. Hanging out with the fam. I guess we'll do a segment. Shout outs and call outs. It's a favorite, or maybe it's not. They're probably not favorite segments. I've only done a handful. Maybe like 8. So if you love or hate a segment, shoot me an email. Shoot me a message on fucking Facebook or Instagram. Or don't. But whatever. Shout outs and call outs. First off, shouting out Unique Heating and Cooling. They're a HVAC company in the greater St. Louis area. They've done some work for me in the past, and they came over the other day because it was hot as fuck, and this newer HVAC unit I have, and speaking of HVAC, like I said, if anybody can fix that fucking noise that sounds like a cat being strangled by a larger cat or a whatever strangles a cat, it's not great for audio. So call Unique Heating and Cooling because it was hot as fuck in St. Louis, which happens. We have terrible weather, but it was hot at night, which I don't care for because I gotta have it cool at night. And we got a new unit. I was like, maybe they could look at it, kind of figure out what's going on, make it a little cooler at night. Sometimes there's nothing you can do because it's just hot as fuck and it's 85 degrees at 10 o'clock at night, which is not ideal. But this dude came over. Jeff, John, Mike, Rob, Tim, Steve. I can't remember the guy's name. Hell of a guy, though. Hell of a guy. Rick. No, Rick's not right. Robert. I don't know. If one of those is right, shout out to you, my friend. I've met him before because he's been over there. Great guy. Super helpful. He took out his little thermal, I don't know, thermal gun or whatever. You just point it at a thing and it tells you how hot or cold it is. He's shooting that all around at the vents and shit. And then he's like, yeah, it's fucking hot. And your cold air return is in a hot-ass area. So if it wasn't as hot, or if you could run a duct to another area that's air-conditioned, it wouldn't be as hot. I was like, that's a good point. I should have thought of that. It's 1,000,000 degrees outside with 1,000,000 degrees humidity, and I should have thought of that. But, he was only there for 7 to 8 minutes, but he gave a succinct, precise assessment of what was going on. And I was like, oh, man, I appreciate you coming out. What do I owe you? He's like, don't worry about it. What? When does that ever happen these days? Hell of a guy. Didn't charge me. So if you need some work done on your HVAC, I'd recommend Unique Heating and Cooling. Call Rick, Mike, Jeff, Steve. God damn it, I wish I remembered his name, but I don't. So just call their main line and they'll help you out. They got a bunch of technicians, bunch of people that can assess the situation. They do new systems. They do repairs. They do it all. So huge shout out to Unique Heating and Cooling. Now we're going to call outs. I've mentioned it before, but I got an old piece of shit house from 1890. Trying to work on it. It's a goddamn nightmare. And the gutters on the house, while they may be in good shape, they're not installed the best or working the best. They're just kind of there. And there's these old shitty gutter guards on there that apparently just haven't been working at all, because I had to get up there a couple months ago and dig a goddamn bird's nest out of a gutter. So birds can get in, and probably squirrels if they'd like, or whatever. And there's been birds getting in the attic multiple times, and I always got to shoo them out of there, and it's a pain in the ass. Where are these fucking birds getting in? We're like, oh, they're probably going through the gutter and then going up through there, and there's no soffit in place, and then they get in. So who the fuck knows? But the gutters suck. So like, all right, we'll get some fucking gutter guards on there that actually work, because I'm tired of the leaves and all the horse shit of cleaning them out a few times a year. This dude comes over. Pretty good salesman, I'll give it to him. But I kind of despise this company now for their business model and sales tactics. So basically, he comes in, he's like, oh yeah, we took a look at your gutters. So you had this many feet of gutter that need guards. We can do this, we can do that, we can do all this shit. How's $9,500 sound? And if I would have been sipping a liquid, I would have spit it out and done a spit take. I wasn't, and I was trying to be nice. I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ, go fuck yourself. That's what I wanted to say. But instead, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I think that was a little more than we were trying to spin, so you can go ahead and probably leave now, which I didn't say. I was just like, it's more than we were wanting to spin. Thanks for looking at it. But he hits me with the, okay, so that's not something you're interested in. That's more money than you want to spend. We can probably give you a discount. We can, move some things around. We can go down to about $7,400. Again, insane amount of money to just spend on guards for your gutters. It's like, yeah, that's up there. I'm going to have to talk to my wife and we'll get back to you. Like, go ahead and leave. Didn't say that, but I was just like, yeah, that's insane. Like, yeah. Are either of you by chance a veteran? Like, no. Like, do any of you know a veteran? My wife was like, I think my cousin served. Okay, well, we'll put the veteran discount on there. And then, how's about $5,000 cost, $5,000 for the whole house. We'll knock it out real fast. No, sir, that's a insane amount of money for leaf guards for a gutter. Leaf Filter was the company, by the way. Hell of a product. Not knocking them on their product, because they probably do have the best product out there. But I asked the guy before he even started, I was like, hey, do you just sell the product that I could put on myself? Like, no, they don't do that. They don't want to do that because they're going to, try to charge somebody $9,500 to get installed because somebody doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Would have just been like, oh, okay. Well, I guess that's what it cost. Go ahead and fuck me in the ass on that one. So, he keeps going down. He must have a quota or a bottom dollar on the thing. He goes from $5,000 to $4,200. We go back and forth. I'm like, what if we just do these two gutters? Because that's the part of the house that's tall as shit, and I don't want to get up on the roof and fall off and kill myself. Like, we could do this, we could do that, and then he hits me with the, well, let me talk to a supervisor. Pulls out his phone, puts it on speaker. So already I'm like, well, something's up here. Throws it down, and then this, performance goes on of like, hey, I'm here at this, place in St. Charles. They need some gutter guards, and I'm trying to make them a deal. Is there anything we could do? I don't know. We've been talking for a while. I think we should try to work with them. Dude on the phone who is technically a supervisor, which he's totally not. He's just another salesman that sits at a desk and does this pageantry to make sales, which I'm clocking the whole time. It's like, oh, man, well, we just had this commercial job. And, we had about 240 feet of this material that we're not going to need now. So that would work out perfect for these guys. I think we could probably give them a discount on that since, we got it and we got to get rid of it. And then, there's a back and forth of the thing. There's it's a dog and pony show. And then they come back with the final price. And I'm like, well, fuck. You started at $9,500. You're down to like $3,000, which is still more than I wanted to pay. But fuck, how much more meat on the bone is there for you? Probably gonna have a few guys out there getting up on the roof or climbing a fucking 25-foot ladder to put these things on and cleaning them out and getting things installed. It's like, all right, let me go talk to my wife. So we went outside, and she didn't know that the phone call was horseshit. So she's like, well, that's a pretty good deal. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, it's not bad, but that was all bullshit, right? And she's like, oh, I didn't, but that makes sense, I guess. Like, yeah. total horseshit on the phone call there, but they have dropped the price by $6,000. So, fuck it. I guess let's go for it to get this guy the fuck out of our house. So, sign up for the whole thing. You'll be there on Monday at 4 p.m. Unbeknownst to myself, I slept like shit on Sunday. I couldn't fall asleep almost all night. I probably got maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep. At 8 a.m., we get a knock at the door. Oh, it's the leaf filter guy. He's like, I'm here to put your leaf filters in. And I'm like, oh, well, you're not here at the right time. And then, he looks at the shit and he's like, oh, well, this is not installed right. I'm going to call my manager and then just leave. So that's what happened there. And then my wife's trying to call him and figure out what the fuck's going on with the pricing and the this and the that, and it's just not great. So, we'll see what happens, but I'm sure they're going to try to jack up the price now, and I'm not having it. You got a good product, but you're dicking us around, you're doing fake phone calls, don't really care for it, so you're called out on Back of the Room podcast. Sure, the millions and millions of listeners are going to negatively infect this $100 million business that Leaf Filter has built. Probably not. And like I said, you got a good product. I don't care for the pageantry and the horse shit you're trying to pull, but you're getting called out. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll give you an update later on about the guards for the gutters. But, I think we got to wrap things up, folks. I appreciate you listening and or watching Back of the Room.